Hey, Chris.
What's up there, Ike? How are you?
I am good. Welcome to Loose Lips. It's always great to have you back.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here, especially
And,
with you and your glittery hat.
and look at you all dressed in red for some reason.
I'm waiting to be a bull matador later.
Well, I've got the ass, so bring me along. So we
Uh,
got a big show today.
yes, we
We
do.
Yep, and it's always exciting to have this guest back, but we're going to get into that. But Chris, I have not seen you since what? October here?
It's been a while, yeah. This is probably the longest gap that we've had since we started doing this, at least.
Choose your words, but yes.
Yes, I'm not
I
talking about your gap.
You actually performed in December in John's
I
show, right?
did. Yes, I did a Christmas show. John Ziza has an annual Christmas show at a club in New York City. He
Okay.
asked me to be a part of it. I wrote an original Christmas song, and yeah,
It's
and
amazing.
it went very well. I was a little nervous, but it's up there on YouTube if people want to look for it. It's called Christmas Even More. I'm
It's great.
hoping to record it this summer and have it a studio recording of it for the season. So
Yes, and it's actually great because it's a little story to it too, and in the lyrics, which I love.
yes,
Yeah, it was a great. I loved it. Great song, great performance. And here
and
we
you released your Christmas album, correct?
yes. I don't even know if I have the copy.
And how was that experience?
Of course I do, Chris.
You have a copy of it. All right, there you go.
Called the
Yeah, look
Christmas
at that
Club.
cover. Amazing cover.
Yeah, that was a fun experience, and it
Who
turned
is
out.
that on the cover?
Huh?
Who is that on the cover?
That's me.
Oh,
I gained a little bit of weight since January, Chris. Nice try. You were going to bring it up, weren't you?
no.
Yeah, this is the problem. I gain weight in the winter time. I don't know why I go up, I go down,
You're a
and then
bear.
yeah. A cub, but thank you. But I always hate like when you say, I want to work out, I want to get back in shape, and you say to your friend, I think I'm going to start the gym again, and they go, "Oh, that's a good idea."
Yeah.
Are they my friend?
Well, the worst is when they laugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The worst. Good luck.
Yeah,
Again.
that's right.
All right, Chris. Our show, as always, is sponsored by Uberlube.
That's
We
right.
have big supporters since 2018, supporting 50 Shades of Gay while it's on the road. You can visit their website at uberlube.com, see all their fancy products. Their glass bottles are nightstand friendly. They have travel size, which is great for people on the go. Again, we're so grateful for them, and go visit their website and buy their products. And
Yeah, they've been a great sponsor to you.
yeah, they have been. Yep. And of course, this is the fun part, Chris, where people get to ask for advice. Why, I have no idea, but they do. And they can send any kind of questions, any kind of advice they need to Ike Avelli events at hotmail.com, or they could just send us a quick DM at our Facebook page at Loose Lips, the podcast.
And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Loose Lips, the podcast, where you
Yeah.
can catch all the episodes of this fabulous podcast that Ike's been doing for years now.
Oh my God, 6 years, and it doesn't make any
With
sense.
Tim.
Yes, Tim
You mentioned
Moss.
Tim, yes.
Yep. So let's get into this. Let's introduce our guest.
Sure. Our guest is returning to the show for his lucky 13th time. He is the man behind the Sheena Easton Music Archives Project and so many other artists' milestone releases throughout his career.
He is here to chat about Record Store Day 2026, today, April 18th, and Sheena Easton's unreleased 1986 dance album, Shockwave, which was released on translucent red vinyl. We are not only here to talk about that, but everything else that Adam is working on. Please welcome Adam Mattera.
Hi.
There he is.
So good to be back. I can't believe it's 13 times. Wow.
So
Yeah.
invite you back to break that 13 thing, but
yeah, well, it's great to be back. Thank you. On Record Store Day itself. Today is Record Store Day.
Today is Record Store Day around the world. Correct.
In the 13 times that you have been on, that you were actually on the show for the event or the release date. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. And this is, of course, Shockwave. This is the third vinyl release in the campaign for Record Store Day. And there it is.
Ah, what a cover. Ah,
do you like it?
Love it. Love it. This is one of my favorite pictures. It was on her, when I went to go see her in concert in 87, it was on the No Sound But a Heart tour book.
Yes.
And I could never get
it. Yeah.
Yes. Fabulous.
Yeah, so when we were doing, obviously there was never any, this is new artwork in a sense. I mean, this artwork didn't exist before. Of course, the photos are from that era, the same era as the tracks were recorded. But it was really important to me that we made it look authentic to how it would have, not like a 2026 design, you know, like the design of how it would have looked were it to have been released at the time in 1986. So that kind of whole graphic approach and the logo, the Sheena logo that we used on there, and the whole thing is keeping with the feel of how it would have been if it was a mid-80s, if it had been released at the time. Yeah.
It did. I felt like a kid again, literally, when it was coming out and having it in my hands. The smell of vinyl. Oh.
Yeah, there's something really nice about having that tactile, proper big physical thing, I think, sometimes, you know, rather than this little tiny thing you see on your phone, you know, which is like the size of a stamp.
Well, right.
Oh, yeah, there's a red vinyl.
This is the first time I was able to, you know, look at everything and not take my glasses off. Like, and actually,
that's true.
That was the best part of vinyl, you know, reading the lyrics and not straining and getting a magnifying glass. This is
absolutely
great.
And also, I think the excitement as well. I was thinking about this today. The excitement as well. You didn't really necessarily know. You might have heard one single or two, and you saw an image, but the whole thing was like a bit of a mystery until you actually got it home and played it.
Yeah.
So there was something that it was like a very sort of there was an excitement about that.
Sure. Yeah. Really I remember even just like getting the album in the car and then having that 20-minute drive and just reading through the credits and reading the lyrics and like in anticipation of actually playing it. But you're right. We usually only heard one song from it, maybe two if the flip side was on the album. But and then to get home and hear it all, you know, and have the time to just consume it and really just live in it, you know. And then
you know, you'd find out that the ones that you didn't necessarily connect with on the first or second, by the time you were playing at the 8th or 9th time, like, oh, actually that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
You know, the one that you initially thought was maybe a bit more difficult, or which I think is something that you don't, unfortunately now in the way that people consume music, that doesn't happen so much.
Right.
Because everything is much, you know, you've got to get, well, even the way the algorithms work on streaming, you know, is like you have to have listened to a certain amount of seconds into it for it to count as a stream. So the way the music is actually made is to make it as sort of they want to avoid anything too complicated or that doesn't get straight into they want the immediacy to be there, which means the kind of art that's created is different as well.
Right.
So you wouldn't get something that was like a long form strange track as much because people were worried that people would get bored and switch it off.
Right.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room without aging out, you know, both of us. 40 years we've waited for this freaking
crazy.
Oh my God. And it
is 40 years. Yes, it is 40 years.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that insane, Adam? I mean, think about that. If you had not been in charge of this project and decided to do this project, all of us Sheena Easton fans would have never heard all of these unreleased tracks that we've been speculating about and didn't even know that there were more than we imagined. And here we are 40 years later with the gift of having our nostalgia and our childhood all reliving it all again, and a new album from 1986. So thank you for that. You know, you've done
Well,
it.
yeah, I mean, it's a kind of labor of love. I mean, I enjoy it as much as, you know, I want. Yeah, but you're right. I guess, I mean, I don't really think of it that way, but if it wouldn't have just happened by itself. I mean, to find some of these tracks, well, Is It True, for example, that one, there was only one copy of it on a tape in on a master tape in America that I found. I mean, there wasn't multiple copies of it. Some of the things, it's not on here, but like, for example, the 12-inch version of Anything Can Happen wasn't even in the vault. And Michael J. himself, the writer of the co-writer of the song, he supplied that for me to use for the thing. So it wasn't. I had to dig deep to get some of this stuff.
I can imagine. So why was it important for you to release this as a standalone LP for Record Store Day?
Well, because we had, like, the first release of it, of course, was on the second volume of the box set, which came out, I guess, about 6 months ago now. I think it was October last year, on CD. And so that was the first release of this material that had never been released. And the label said, "Oh, we want you to do another. Can you think of something to do for Record Store Day with Sheena?" And I was like, "Well, the obvious thing to do is that because none of it's ever been on vinyl. Right. You know, it was never released because it was never released at the time, so it's never been pressed on vinyl. Apart from Shockwave, which was the B-side of Eternity, none of the other songs have ever appeared on vinyl. So." And So Far So Good, I guess, of course. Yeah, but not this version, actually. And so it was a bit no-brainer. It's like, why not complete? We've done every single other album on vinyl from her EMI catalogue. And this was the one full set, as it were. Yep. So it made sense to do it. And so we did it for Record Store Day. Also, I should add that, of course, maybe we'll get into this later, but in terms of it being an album, it is an album, but what it isn't is, it wasn't like Sheena created an album called Shockwave and the record company said, "Oh, we hate it, we don't release it." That did not happen.
Right.
What happened was, and we'll get into the detail of it, was that she recorded loads and loads of material for ages and ages for a new album. And between her and the label and agreements between different parties about what they wanted to put out, what they did, they only got to the point much later, after many delays and stuff, which we can talk about, and that record became No Sound But Heart. But all these tracks that are on here, and the ones that were on No Sound of a Heart, ended up on No Sound But Heart, were recorded kind of all in the same sessions, really. All of the ones on here were from 1986. Some of them, they went into the following year for some more material as well. But there was like probably about 2 albums worth of material, essentially. But a whole chunk of it never got out. So this was an opportunity to put it out under the title Shockwave.
So I think we have a better chronological story of what happened, which let me summarize and see if you guys both agree that this is probably how it happened. But she went into the studio first with Nick Martinelli, recorded.
No, Nada.
Oh, Narada first. Okay.
Yeah.
Then she went in with Nick.
Yes.
And so she had an album's worth of material if they were to, which seemed like what they were going to be doing, because in September of that year, they prepped, what's the single that they prepped? I'm blanking. Anything Can Happen. Right? They prepped that after So Far So Good. And then for some reason they pulled it. So it seemed like perhaps they were going to release an album that had the Narada tracks and the Nick Martinelli tracks. Then what seems to have happened is they took off the Nick Martinelli, they scrapped those, and they had her go into the studio with Keith Diamond. And then in January of that year, there's a newsletter where she's announcing an album that No Sound But a Heart, produced by Keith Diamond and Narada Michael Walden. There's no mention of Nick Martinelli. I think you found a press release that had a track list of those songs that only included, again, the Narada tracks and the Keith Diamond tracks. Then that was scrapped. EMI was merging with EMI Manhattan Records and became EMI Manhattan Records. And then she went into the studio with Phil Ramone and it was maybe there was some other additional tracks, I'm not sure, after that, but it became a ballad and mid-tempo focused album. Oh, Eternity. That was the other track that was
the final one recorded in that period, yeah.
So it seems like there were 3 ideations of albums that were perhaps proposed during this period of time. And so it's interesting. And I have to say, when you look at your track list, it's a solid album. Like what you did, this version of it, which again wasn't any version that was proposed, but is, basically the unreleased tracks with a couple of tracks that weren't released on vinyl before. And this is a solid album. It could have had a lot of commercial potential.
Absolutely, I agree. And I think what was interesting when trying to piece together the story behind these recordings and exactly what happened and why, my assumption going into it, which I think is the assumption that a lot of fans have as well, is that the label rejected it and didn't release it. We're rejecting certain tracks, the more dance up-tempo material, and didn't want to release it for some unknown reason. But as I was getting into it and then finding, particularly with Sweet Talker, or Sweet Talk as it was originally called, but ended up being called Sweet Talker, that track, which was one of the ones she did with Keith Diamond, there were so many versions of it in the vault, and then loads, and then all these Shep Pettibone remixes. It was like, well, if they reject it, I don't understand. I mean, if they were rejecting the track, they didn't want to do it, somebody must have really believed in that track to spend all that money to get Pettibone, who at that point wasn't quite at his peak. That kind of happened a couple of years later with Vogue and Madonna. But he was certainly a red hot producer. I mean, he was really...
Yeah, he was doing a lot of remixes, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a big name, and it would have cost money to get him to do remixes and reproduction. And you wouldn't do that without having faith in the track. But it suggests that maybe someone else didn't have faith. Who was it? And I think what I eventually uncovered, and there was a Billboard piece I know that you sent me, Chris, after the fact as well, which clarified it even more. Essentially, I think what it was, because there were quotes from Sheena's manager at the time, Harriet Wasserman, that it was Sheena's part. It was on Sheena's side that it was Sheena that was less comfortable with that material, more than the label. It wasn't the label necessarily that were rejecting the dance material. It was more Sheena wanted to go in a different direction. And so that's how it ended up being No Sound, what was the finally released album of No Sound But Heart. Not because the label weren't happy with what she was doing. And I guess the Martinelli tracks were the ones that Sheena liked the least. But there was, apart from one, there was one in the Martinelli sessions which did end up going through and being released, which was the ballad, The Last to Know, which ended up on No Sound But Heart. But all the other ones that are on here.
Oh, the Nick Martinelli, not Narada. You said Narada, but you.
Oh, did I say Narada? I meant. Sorry, I meant Nick Martinelli. Of the Martinelli sessions, none were released apart from The Last to Know, which ended up on No Sound.
But weren't in the sessions prior to them going ballad? Weren't ballads already recorded?
Well, yeah, because in the Narada Michael Walden session, there were several ballads, of which 3 of them ended up on the final album, the No Sound album, which were Floating Hearts, What If We Fall in Love, and Still in Love.
Right.
Which at one point was going to be a single, apparently, Still in Love. So there were 3. They had 3 ballads there. They had Rhythm of Romance with Nick Martinelli, which was rejected, and The Last to Know. So there was a bunch of ballads already.
Yeah, I think it was going to be both versions. If they use the Nick Martinelli and the Narada sessions as an album, and then the Keith Diamond and Narada album sessions as an album. Both were going to include a mix of up-tempo and ballads.
Yeah.
And I think Sweet Talker was the intended first single for the second version of the album that was going to be released in January. It does make sense that for them to have for her to announce it in a newsletter, for them to have a track chronological track list somewhere with a publicity. They were really far in that second version of the process of releasing it. And I have my own theory. We can speculate about the Nick Martinelli sessions. For me personally, I feel like a few of those songs could have benefited from being about a step or a half a step down in terms of where they placed her voice, because to me it sounds like even the cover Young Hearts Run Free, it sounds a little too much screechy, I guess, too much at the top of her range. And that I think when you're listening to those, if I'm an artist, maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe I'm saying But
that's why I love that track, because
but
that was what was missing from Do You, and I loved A Private Heaven, and it was such a switch to Do You where it was her lower range. And then when I hear that, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, and that may be exactly why they chose that particular arrangement for those Nick Martinelli songs, because you're right. I think there may have been some, because listen, I love now Do You, and I love it because it does explore the mid-range more and the lower range of her voice. I love the contrast. I think the songs are solid. But at the time, you're right, Ike, it was very confusing. I remember being a little confused, like something's different about her voice, because I'm young and I'm not really knowledgeable about what's going on. And I liked the album, but I still was definitely noticing a different sound there in her voice. Now I know what it is. And then I think that may have been the reaction, that maybe they thought the album failed because people were confused by the new sound of her voice. So let's get back to exploring the top end. And then it may have just been too much. But you're an example of, I have an opinion about it and you love it. That's what you loved about it.
Yeah, love it. And is it true? Like those.
That's a great song.
Been a single out of the gate and
absolutely
just incredible. And then the way it was catchy, it was just giving me everything that a hit record should have.
Would that be your first single?
Yeah.
What would your first single be, Adam?
Well, it's interesting because Is It True was probably the one that of the ones I discovered in the vault, I thought was the weakest initially. But then the more I listened to it with that na na na, that kind of chanting section, like, oh my God, this is such a hit record. It really sounds like that's from the Narada Michael Walden sessions. It's he had a certain sound at the time that was all over radio and giving big hits. And he did So Far So Good, of course. And Is It True is very reminiscent of We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off. Yes. The track he did with Jermaine Stewart. Which was a huge, number 2, I think it got to in America. And if that was all over the radio, it's like, surely Is It True would have, it just felt very much in that mode. Or How Will I Know for Whitney, those kind of records. It was very much in that. So that wasn't my favorite. But I would say my favorite, the question wasn't what my favorite, what would be a single? I still think that Anything Can Happen is a single.
Yeah.
Just feels like a hit single to me of them.
See, that was another one. I loved it when I first heard it. Now when I listen to it, I think it's also too high in her. Really? She's too high in her range there. But my favorite was Five Star Affair.
5-Star Affair.
Right.
Okay.
I think I love the spoken parts. It's almost, again, like it's like what Aretha does in Freeway of Love. Like there's a lot of similarities to that. Like let's do some ad libs and
that is great. The spoken part, I love that.
Yeah, so
they're strong tracks. They're not like it's not like you listen to them and think. Young Hearts Run Free is a record that's been covered many times and has been a hit many times. And I'm sure. There's no reason why that wouldn't. I know you find her vocal on it a little bit. Could have issues with her vocal, Chris, but I still think that would have got a reaction had it come out at the time.
Especially with the remix,
You know?
You know what's the fan favorite is? I'm noticing in the comments, "Don't Wake Me Up from My Dream."
I'm so glad you brought that up because I did a poll on the World of Sheena Easton site, thanks to Miguel, and I put that up, and it was like a landslide. Landslide.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep. And that was the one I liked actually too in the beginning because
I remember you saying that, yeah, and it's grown on me. It's got a very sweet chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like in your face.
No.
But I think everyone just loves how sweet it sounds. Like it's just a really solid tune,
It is a really good song, yeah.
Comes in, it just reminded me like it belonged in one of the Brat Pack pictures.
Yes, a movie soundtrack, absolutely.
Yes, that was written, but I mean that's from the Nick Martinelli sessions, isn't it? That was written by, or co-written by Danny Sembello, the brother of Michael Sembello, who people know, especially in America, because he had a huge hit with Maniac, and was performed with Stevie Wonder and all kinds of people. And Danny Sembello, his younger brother, wrote that song, "Don't Wake Me Up from My Dream," and had just had a big hit writing "Neutron Dance" for the Point Sisters.
Yes,
and you think it's got you can see a kind of connection. But yeah, it's a great song. Another great song session.
Ike, did he write co-write with Ailey Willis "If It's Meant to Last" on the Lover and Me?
Ailey Willis, isn't that from the who wrote songs for the Village People and for
Yes.
Yeah.
Earth, Wind and Fire and all that stuff.
Yes, I think so. Was it the one that Jelly Bean did?
Yeah.
What was the name of that damn song?
If it's meant to last.
Last, that's right. Did you say that? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also wrote
yeah, so he did, yeah. So I just confirmed it. He wrote that with so he wrote that's the first song he wrote for her, but he did write another track when she moved over to MCA.
Right.
Jelly Bean, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you look at the writing rates, you'll see that certain writers recur, throughout. Like for example, there's a guy, a not very well-known songwriter called Dana Moreno, who wrote "Want to Give My Love" for No Sound by Heart, who had done Young Lions, exactly. So you'd see these names return, that she was kind of obviously vibing with their material for whatever reason. Yeah.
So speaking of lots of material, we have a question from Jeff, who, before I even asked the question, wanted to let you know that you are his own personal rock and roll Hall of Fame for your masterful curation of Sheena's EMI years.
Thank you.
So he said, that's nice. So he said, last time you were on our podcast, you mentioned Sheena approved most everything sent to her in terms of new unreleased material for the second box set.
Yes.
So he says, were there one or more new unreleased songs that she opted not to approve, or were they merely alternate versions of songs, orchestral versions that she did approve for inclusion in the second box set? Like, is there anything else that possibly is missing?
No, there was no song as such that she. I'm really pleased about that. There's no song that she did not approve. There were versions of songs, but they tended to be instrumental versions or live versions. That was the main thing that she wasn't happy with. Like certain I guess instrumental versions because she didn't necessarily feel that they were worth releasing, or unfortunately, or live ones because they weren't necessarily recorded with the intention of being released, stuff like that. But there was no actual song. There isn't like a whole bunch of songs that never, or demo. Sometimes demos. Right. One thing that I kind of really wanted to have on the when I was redoing the first album, the debut album.
Yes.
Take My Time, as it's known. I found the original EMI audition tape essentially, and it was her auditioning for her contract that was recorded for you see snippets on the Big Time documentary, and I had the full thing with talking in between. It's amazing. Those songs had been released. There are 3 Feelings, the 70s cabaret classic. I've Got the Music in Me.
Yeah.
And what's the
You Light Up My Life.
You Light Up My Life. That's it. So 3 big 70s, middle of the road standards, basically. Songs that she'd been doing in her sort of club act, I think, at the time. Anyway, they were released on a compilation by EMI. Actually at the wrong speed. If you listen to them, but they were on a quite obscure compilation, and so I thought, this is a chance to put them out at the right speed, and but Sheena did not want those released, and was not aware they had been previously released either. But so those are, I guess, the only songs that didn't come out, but they had been out anyway. But otherwise, no, it was generally mixes and live things, and
Yeah. So we thank Jeff for that question. We all had that question because when you said, she didn't approve some stuff, we all thought, there could be more.
Oh no, there's another album about to come out. No, there isn't.
Can we talk about Record Store Day?
Yes.
And what you've revealed, I guess.
Oh well, I say basically how Record Store. My understanding, as I'm finding out this myself, is Record Store Day is an international event. So it takes place in the UK, it takes place in the US. The idea being to drive footfall into stores to get people to go into the stores and buy the vinyl on that day. And so it's an event, people queue up and they're like, there's a limited edition David Bowie album, there's this or that. So people are pressing things on vinyl and it's a big deal. And to get on that, you have to apply way in advance. I mean, the application, months and months. I mean, like, not quite a year, but the best part of a year in advance. And then it's not guaranteed that Record Store Day will pick up on the release. So I put an application in via the label for this when they said, have you got something for Record Store Day? And then I find out whether they accept it or not. Because if they reject it, then there's no, you don't make it. Or I suppose you could. Anyway, so it was accepted for the UK Record Store Day, but not for the US. The US, I don't know I don't get reasons, but it wasn't accepted for the US. So fast forward to today, it's out today in the US, in the UK, but even then it's down to the individual stores. So it doesn't mean that every independent record store doing Record Store Day will necessarily stock it. So it's a kind of so you have to kind of have a look around, and hopefully there's one in your town. If you're in London, for example, there are loads, so it won't be that hard to find it, but it might be more tricky, So you've got to look around in these stores or find out in advance. In the US, I did find out that some copies have gone over to the US. So there are copies in the US. I only found that out a couple of days ago.
All right.
But it's not, although it's not officially part of Record Store Day, there are copies circulating in America.
If
you really want to find one, I'm sure you will be able to find one.
It's like the Willy Wonka dollar bill in the chocolate bar.
It is a bit like that, yeah.
Call your local record store and ask them if they have it. Better yet, go in and see if you can find it on your own. That'll be even more fun. I remember going to Coachella and they had Record Store Day that weekend, just happened to fall on the weekend that I was at Coachella, and they had a tent up and it was a record store. And so I went in and guess what I found? The 12-inch collection by Sheena Easton. And I thought for sure, I was like, whoever booked this and decided what records they're not going to have a Sheena Easton record. This is all kids in their 20s, but they must have known that one guy in his 50s was asking for the Sheena Easton record, and it was me.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm glad you got it.
And you said it was only one copy?
No, there were actually 3 copies. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. Who knows how many were rare? Yeah, they could have been more.
Yeah, they put it aside for me so that no one else could get it.
Sure they did, and then they came out, put you out in handcuffs.
That's right.
So, what was the most challenging track to restore from the 86 sessions for the red vinyl release?
Well, I mean, the most challenging one in this group was what I mentioned before, the 12-inch version of Anything Can Happen, which isn't actually on the 12-inch version isn't on here. So that doesn't really answer that question, because that had to be taken from an audio cassette that Michael J had, and that was the only copy that seemed to be in existence in the entire world. and I was worried about it sounding bad because it was only on a, like a standard like audio tape you get used to, cassette, rather than an actual master. But actually, it sounded great in the end. The sound guys did.
You really did. I wouldn't even have known that.
No, you wouldn't know. See, I really shouldn't say that because it makes it like. But that's the only. That's it. Yeah, that was the only one. The only copy. They had nothing in the vault. So all the other ones that are on here, that none of them were more difficult than any other, really, because they're all from the original masters. Yeah. So in terms of restoration or anything like that, it's exactly the same process. So they just go to
I know one of the biggest questions that we see in the comments that we see is, when are they going to release all this stuff on digital? And you haven't heard anything because that's a different company, right?
Yeah. So Cherry Red or Cherry Pop is a specific sub-label, have the license to release Sheena's material. The license is held by it's held by RT Industries, the other logo you see on the releases. So RT Industries bought Sheena's EMI catalog, I don't know, 7 years ago. I'm not sure exactly how many years ago. In the last decade, I think it was. I'm not 100% sure exactly when it happened. But when EMI dissolved, it sold off its certain catalogs, and they bought the Sheena Easton EMI catalog. So they own that catalog. And so Cherry Red only have a physical thing, so seed for CDs and vinyl. But it's RT that will decide if, when, how anything goes on streaming. And they have mentioned to me that I mean, I have said to them, I've suggested, I mean, I think it would make sense for SHOCKWAVE to come out now, sooner. But when exactly it happens, I don't know. I'm sure, I would imagine, and I don't want to say I'm sure because I'm not sure, because it's not under my control, but I would have thought it would be this year.
Well, that's actually Nick Charles, I think, had a question. He wanted to know, will SHOCKWAVE get a standalone CD release?
A standalone CD release, as in separate from the box set?
Yes.
I don't know. Not at this stage, it's not planned. That's not to say it won't happen. I mean, it could happen, but it depends on a whole bunch of things. Not at this exact moment. It's not planned. No. Which isn't to say it won't. It definitely won't happen. I don't know.
Do we want to talk about the next project for Sheena?
Of course, Adam. Hello.
Adam, are you able to?
Yeah. I can talk about the next thing because it's actually been
Announced. Yeah.
Announced.
Yeah, there's pre-orders, so
yes.
Right?
So I should talk about it, really. Should I talk about it? Okay, I'm going to talk about it. So basically, after the next thing, I wanted to do, as things stand, it could be the last release in the Sheena campaign, but it depends if Cherry Red extend the licensing deal with RT or not, and that decision isn't. I'm not involved in that decision or that negotiation. So as things stand, I wanted to end it on a bang, really, and do something really big. And so I suggested the idea. So I came up with this idea of doing a singles box set. So basically, it's all of Sheena's EMI singles. Well, not every single one. I mean, there's not like the obscure Philippine release of "She's in Love with," with a radio is not on there. I mean, within reason, because
every US and UK release, right?
There you go. Every US and UK release in a box set, pressed as CD singles, individual, in their original little replications of the single sleeve at the time.
That's cool.
And with B-sides and remixes and bonus tracks, unreleased versions, yada, 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 the whole thing. Yeah. And there are 25 discs, and they are pitch discs as well. So on each individual disc, there is a unique picture as well. And then there's a 56-page full-color booklet with little bits of snippets of interviews and chart information and reproduction of different international sleeves and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it has been an exhaustive process to do it.
Wow.
It's taken ages.
Can't wait to see it.
exciting.
It's very exciting. Yeah, it's going to be a box that you open up, and you've got all these little wallets, and you've got 52 different individual things. Yeah,
and I believe there's.
I got so excited.
Is it 36 or 39 songs that were not released so far?
Yeah, 36 unreleased versions. Yeah, right. Yeah. So they're not new songs; they're different versions, like a live version or a different mix or a this or that. There were loads of mixes, for example, of Sweet Talker. Yeah, as I sort of referred to earlier, like a different 12-inch mix and this, and there's like a great dub version of No Sound But a Heart as well. Some of the dub versions are great as well. So they have vocals on them, but they're not instrumentals. You know, they have, like as a dub. It was a thing they did a lot in the 80s. Some of them are really good and interesting. Well, there's an amazing version, actually. Well, I like it. There's a really good version of Letters from the Road, which is kind of like a sort of instrumental dub version where you can hear her isolated high. Really, wow. I mean, really. I talk about high.
That's a really high harmony. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, wow, she can do that. Yeah. It's not quite whistle note, but it's kind of getting there.
That, you know, what song? Straight Talking. That is a whistle note. The harmonies that.
Sorry, that's what I meant. It's not Letters from the Road. That's actually what I meant. Straight Talking.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Talking. Exactly, because yes, it's Straight Talking, not Letters from the Road. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kai,
hey, what you gonna do? Yeah. And you hear her isolated part.
Yeah.
Great. Two great B-sides right off that. Right out of the gate. Two great
Well, that was the thing. Her B-sides were so good.
Yeah.
You know? They're a little harder, too. Like Letters from the Road was completely opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Private Heaven. And
yes, it was more like a Pat Benatar kind of
thing. Yeah.
I always describe that song to me as Sheena Easton meets the E Street Band.
Yeah.
There's something about the drums and the saxophone solo. It's a great song.
Absolutely.
So Kai wants to know, first of all, thanks for everything you do, Adam, about the upcoming singles release. Are the orchestral versions with or without vocals? Sorry.
Let me think. It depends which ones. For example, there's a track. There's Almost Over You orchestral version.
Ooh.
And that has vocals on it, but it doesn't have all the vocals on it. So it's like a big orchestra. It's got the isolated orchestra to the front of the mix, and it's got a background vocals on it.
Yeah, nice.
So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's not totally instrumental. I can't remember what the other right now. I can't remember what the other orchestral version is.
I think Isn't It So?
Isn't It So? Yeah, no, that one is totally just orchestra.
Wow,
that's I mean, it's really. There was another one which she didn't want released as well, which was a version of, which wasn't orchestra. It was like a guitar version of Savoir Faire, which I really liked. But yeah. So some have vocals and some don't.
Yeah, we're so excited for this. I can't wait. And when's the release date for that one, Adam?
19th of June. I'm pretty sure it's the 19th of June. Yeah.
We're penciling it in the calendar.
It literally just I've been dealing with the artwork literally in the last few days. We're still doing delivery of bits and pieces of it. It's quite a big job. Because you imagine you've got 25 wallets, and you've got 25 wallets which are kind of have to be recreated. Yeah. Because there's a new track listing for each thing, so you have to recreate the back of them, and then there's each individual disc which has a picture on it, and then there's a booklet, and then there's this, and there's the lid of the box, and the inside the box all has images on it, and it's the whole thing. So yes, it's all very exciting.
Again, just want to note that how lucky we are that you're in charge of these reissues, because I think people have noticed the difference between the treatment that you're giving Sheena Easton as opposed to some other artists who get a release and it seems rushed and not thought out. And you really take just a great attention to detail. And so thank you again.
I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed doing it. It's been great being able to have, the access to the material, because often when you're doing, I've done a lot of these projects now,
Yeah.
And often you just don't have the access. You just don't have the access. So you can only ever release what's already been released. Sometimes you can't even get to release like a 12-inch mix, you know, that did come out on a promo or something, but you can't get the major labels won't allow you to re-release it. So be able to release unreleased stuff is kind of amazing. It doesn't happen very easily and very often. So RT have been great, and Sheena's been really great, to be honest, with the whole thing.
That's great.
And did you have any update on whether or not MCA would be able to the MCA release?
I mean, I've applied. I think we talked about this last. I don't know if I said that at that time. Maybe I haven't, but I have applied for it. Yeah. So an application is in to the American MCA label to see if they will do, and that would cover everything from the Lover in Me right up until Fabulous. Ideally, I mean that's the idea, but I mean I haven't heard anything back, and that went in. Was it this year or was it last year? It was months ago now. But these things take ages, you know. I've had applications go in, and sometimes it's going to be like 3 years later.
Wow.
Literally, it can be that long. I know, like things I've given up on. I think that's not going to happen, and something happens. And it's so I don't quite understand the exact machinations behind it. I mean, I was also applying for. I did apply for a whole bunch of different MC artists, actually, including Jodie Watley.
Oh,
That was over a year ago. Vanessa Williams. I mean, these will all be amazing people to do. I mean, they were. I didn't
realize Vanessa was on MCA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, am I getting that wrong? I thought it was. Maybe I'm mixed up. I think it was. Or was it a different division? Was it Wing or something, which was a division of UMG? I don't
remember.
Well, that was actually going to be my next question. You know, you've invested so much time into Sheena and everything, and I was curious to see if there were any other projects you're working on. But now that you said, you know, possibly.
Well, there are many things that I have licenses applications out for, but none have been confirmed. So really, to be honest, I shouldn't really be mentioning them, to be honest, at this stage, because it's pointless kind of putting it out there, because it's such a kind of throwing it into the. I really don't know until it happens. So that the application going in is by no means
right. That
doesn't mean it's definite by any means.
But there's hope.
But there's hope. Yeah, there's always hope. Mm-hmm. There's always hope. Well, and one thing that makes me slightly hopeful is that when I did a Prince, I think I mentioned this before, I did a Prince songbook compilation, and I applied for some 101 to appear on that, which didn't end up appearing on it, actually, because I ended up going with Sugar Walls. Yeah. But they did clear 101. They cleared that one track. So if they cleared one track, why can't they clear the whole thing? I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so in terms of other future projects, the only other thing really I can talk about with absolute certainty that is happening is an artist called Beverly Knight, who doesn't really have a profile so much in America, but in the UK and Europe is a huge star who's been recording for her first album came out 30 years ago, and I have done coming out next month. Of her debut album called the B-Funk, which is kind of like a soul swing beat, even I'd say, album. Had a big hit called Flavor of the Old School, which was a hit in the UK, and it's an amazing album. And so I've done a reissue of that, which will come out next month, which is like the original album and some unreleased tracks, and like a bunch of remixes and all this sort of stuff. So that's really exciting. And Beverly Knight, I interviewed her for the project and all the producers and so on, and which was a really great thing to do. She's now like a big West End star as well. So she's sort of graduated from records and
she's got an incredible voice. Yeah.
Yes, and she's won like the Olivier Award. She's won loads of awards, and she's appeared in the West End in London in things like The Bodyguard and there's a thing called Sylvia and that she's doing, which is kind of like a bit like a kind of Hamilton type vibe. She stars in. which is amazing. And yeah, she Sister Act, she's been in loads of stuff. Yeah, she's a really great singer, and that's coming out in about a month, so that's
Nice.
worth watching out for.
Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be many more things to come.
Yeah, and we'll have you back.
Yay, and then come back and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So before we say goodbye, we're going to play a game with you, Adam.
Oh
We
my
played a
god.
game, I think, on the very first episode we had you on. This one's
God.
called Loose Lips Lightning Round.
Oh god, I'm scared.
We're going to ask a question, and we want to see
Okay.
how fast you can answer it.
Okay.
Chris,
Are they
you
about
wanna
Sheena
start?
Easton?
No,
Yeah, sorry.
Totally out of Sheena
Oh,
Easton.
nothing Sheena related. Okay.
We want to get to know you better.
That's right.
God. Okay.
Go ahead, Chris, you start.
The worst job you ever had.
Oh God, I did. I was working for it would have been when I was working. There's something called Barrett Homes, which is like a company that makes houses, and I was sort of working on their sort of PR campaign. And no,
Okay.
it wasn't for me.
What is something we can't Google about you?
God.
Or you don't want us to Google about
I
you.
don't know if I didn't want you to Google. Then I don't know if I'd say it. I don't know. Oh my God, I don't know.
Planting.
Huh?
Any
Oh, I
gardening.
can think of. Let me think of something funny. I once jumped up and down on a bed with Mariah Carey.
Oh,
That's
That-
ungoogleable.
that's really cool. I should have made something up like that.
So you were in a psych ward with her?
Yes, we met. We met in Ward 17.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And she
we
said,
formed
"I
a
don't know her."
strong bond.
What is your most played track on Spotify?
Oh my God, I don't even know what my most played track on Spotify is. But it could be something by Joni Mitchell.
Ooh.
There was a big box. There's a big box set of of her. They keep releasing these huge box sets of her material,
Yeah.
and there's some versions from her album Court and Spark, which is one of my favorite albums, and they're interesting early demo versions of piano, and I play them over and over again because I only have that. I don't have it on CD or anything, so that I tend to play that.
That's a
That
great
could be,
choice.
yeah, it could be that. It could be that.
Yeah, I keep hearing both sides now too on Spotify. It always pops up on my
On your algorithm.
Yeah, I love it. I love that song. Just so brilliant.
What a songwriter.
Yeah. All right, last question.
Yeah.
One piece of advice you wish you ignored. Which was probably don't come on this show.
One thing I always, I did ignore it actually, so it doesn't really answer the question. But what springs to mind is I remember right at the beginning when I started writing like music, trying to get into writing, trying to be a freelance writer, and I kept like sending reviews off to different magazines. This is a long time ago, and getting nowhere. And I met a friend of mine, and they were like, "You should do. Why are you wasting your time? You've been doing this for nearly a year. It's never going to happen."
Yeah.
And I sort of believed them. And I thought, actually, they're right. I mean, why am I wasting my time? I should be trying to focusing on something else and getting a proper job, and it's not going to happen. And, it's just a waste of time. But I didn't listen to them, actually. And I did. And the very next thing that I sent off, I went to review a gig. I bought a ticket for a gig to see an artist called Julia Fordham.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing singer who was very well known in Britain in the 80s. Yeah, she's great. And I saw it, and I wrote a review on Spec and sent it into a magazine which doesn't exist anymore called Record Mirror. Didn't hear anything back. I thought it was another one, and picked up the magazine the next week and was flicking through, and came to the page, live reviews. And I was like, oh God, they've run a review and they've got someone else to write it. And I looked at the bottom and it had my name. And I was like, oh my God, they didn't even tell me. I never even heard back.
Did you get a check?
I guess I must have got paid afterwards. And then I started writing regularly for them. But that was so actually that was an example of me not listening to someone's advice, but kind of almost listening to someone's advice.
We'll take
but
it.
Yeah, that was really because I was so convinced it couldn't possibly be me.
Right.
That I just sort of dismissed it and then did a double take. Really, I was like,
That's amazing.
Absolutely
I love
shocked.
that story.
That is
So that was really something. That was really exciting. The most excited I've ever been to have anything in print, to be honest, because it was the first time, I suppose, and it seemed so And I guess at that time, I mean, that was even before. Did I fax it to them? I didn't have a fax machine. Or maybe I posted it to them.
Wow.
I could have even. I mean, we're talking about prehistoric.
Yeah, you mailed it.
Or the Flintstones. You know, I found a little.
You put it on a slab.
Tied it to a
That's right.
dinosaur, made it run off to.
Oh my God. So
I know it's so long ago. It's shocking, isn't it?
We just want to also thank the world of Sheena Easton because they have been amazing. They
Unbelievable.
they repost our show. They repost everything, Adam, that you have coming out. Miguel has been so welcoming and kind.
Yeah.
And we even got to put the poll up on the song. So
Yes.
to all the fans.
Yeah, it's a great fan site. Really,
Our
really is. Yeah.
fans and friends, and we are just having a great time, and we're so grateful that you came on again. Thank you.
No problem. It's always fun.
You're amazing, Adam.
Thank you.
Hello. It's
There
really
she is.
me. Hello, Adam. Great, and right. And I love, and the end is the best when it says "until now." That is, I love that. That it
A little
came
bit
out.
of drama.
It's available. I love that. But thank you. You're so amazing. You're also very kind to us. Thank you for everything you do for the show and coming on and sharing some tidbits and some stuff that we're not aware of yet. And we're so excited for the next release in June.
Well, thank you. And hopefully I'll be back and we'll talk more then. We'll talk Sheena more then.
There's no hopefully. You'll be back.
Great.
Lucky 14.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. We'll stick with the baker's dozen, but we got to get you out of that 13. Thanks so much.
Well, great to see you again. Thank you again.
Take care, Adam.
Congrats.
All right. Bye.